going to construct the base of the folio, and you're going to need some paper to cut, and I did not put the measurements in the description box. That's very time consuming, but I did put sticky notes on all my paper, so if you want to get a notebook and pen to write all these down, that probably would be the most helpful. The first piece you're going to want to cut is an 8 1/4 by 12 inch piece. And after we cut that, we're going to score it. So we're going to place the 12 inch across the top of our scoreboard, and you're going to make two scores. One of them is at 6 1/4 inches and one is at 7 inches. So it will look like this. There's the two score marks right here. Now you're going to need this folio to be longer than that, so there's going to be a second piece that you're going to cut, and that's going to be 8 1/4 by 5 3/4. You're going to place this with the 5 3/4 inch going across the top of your scoreboard, and there are 3 score marks, 3/4 inch, and that's going to act as a guide to know where we attach it to the other piece, 2 inches, and 2 3/4 inches. So to save time, I've done my scoring, and I've also placed my score tape on the edge. You might prefer to use a different type of adhesive if you want to use the art glitter glue or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take the sticky notes off here, and you're going to attach this to the end of this paper, right where it overlaps at that 3/4 of an inch score. You're not going to fold on that score, it's just acting as a guide as to where to attach the two pieces together. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my score tape, and I'm going to have to eyeball it to make sure I line it up right. I'm going to turn mine sideways just because, well, maybe not. Let me see if I can eyeball this and get it lined up as close as I can. All right, and press down and burnish. So now I'm going to go ahead and burnish my score marks, and I'm just going to turn it upside down and fold into the score. And I'm using this Teflon bone folder. And the other side. Now remember, you're not going to score it on this one where we attached it. That was just as a guide. So I'm going to go over to this. There's 2 more to fold. I got some tape I can see there. And 1 more. Okay. So that is what the base will look like. So you have the 2 sides, the 2 gussets. Now when I attached my paper, I thought I saw a little bit hanging over, so I might need to trim. Down here there's just super small, but I can see it, so it's bothering me. So let me just trim that up real quick. Just a little snip. And nobody probably would have noticed but me. Okay. All right, so again, this is the base, and now we're going to start adding the materials to the middle. So let's go ahead and open it back up, and remember, this won't be seen because we're going to end up putting paper, decorative paper over it. I have a bad shadow. Let's see. I don't know how to get rid of it. I'll just do the best I can. Okay, so you're going to need 2 pieces of paper next. Those are going to measure 6 by 4.5. And you're going to score that with the 4.5 inch side along the top of your scoreboard. And you're going to score at 1/2, and that's where you're going to put your adhesive. Okay, let me see what happens if I turn on another light. I kind of need that light to see, so I hope the glare is not too bad. This is going to go down at the bottom in between the 2 score lines. Try to center it, and you're going to have another one at the top like so. Okay, so let me give you those measurements again. All right. Remove the backing of the score tape. I'm going to eyeball it and get it down at the very bottom, but yet centered in between the score marks. Man, the lighting in here is awful. All right. And then I open it and I give it a score on the inside too. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to center the top one in between those two score marks. And I'm going to turn this one upside down just to make it a little bit easier for me to put it on. And I'm just trying to line it up with the other one. All right. So those flap up and down. We have two side pieces that we're going to attach, and you'll need two of these, and they measure 8 1/4 by 4 1/2. You're going to make two score marks, and that's so that you have a little bit of space to make way or to give a little room for that paper that we're going to be adding on, instead of having it be so it just doesn't lay as nice if you don't put this little gusset. So after you cut it at 8 1/4 by 4 1/2, you're going to do two scores at 1/2 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch. It's the 4 1/2 inch piece that goes across the top of your score board, and then the 1/2 inch and then 3/4. So you just put score tape on that first 1/2 inch section, and you do that to two pieces. So I have two of them here. I'm going to turn my paper sideways, and I'm going to place this on the inside. I don't want to go over the other score mark where my book closes. Okay, and I'll open it up and make sure I burnish on the inside also. And I can take that off. And I'm going to turn it, so now we have the side flap. That's going to be right here. And I'm going to do the other side also, but I'm going to turn it so it's easier for me to see. Don't go over the score mark. Okay. And so now we have this. We have these two go on the inside. We gotta burnish that. And these go on the outside flaps. Okay, let's do a side pocket. Let's do the small one first. So we're going to use this door on the right, or flap on the right hand side. We're going to go up about 1.5 inches, an inch to 1.5 inches. So you'll need one piece of paper that is 5 by 2 3/4, and you're going to score it on 3 sides at 1/2 inch. So it'll look like this. So a score on each of the short sides and a score on the long side. And I cut out the corners to get rid of some bulk. Make sure you don't cut into the corner. And when I do my pockets, I fold the two pieces on the side in, and then I bring up the bottom so that things slide in easier. And we're going to place that about right here on the door. Now I am going to make an adjustment real quick. I ended up putting a gusset on these side pages. So I'll have to put a note at the beginning to watch through this first before cutting anything. This is actually about 3 5/8, and this is measuring, yeah, that's too big. So I need 4 5/8. Let me make a quick adjustment. Or you know what? I can just score it differently. I'm gonna just score it differently. That'll do the trick. So I need to score it about right there. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna go over a little bit more. So I did it at in between the 1/2 and the 3/4. That's where I ended up. And let's see if that does the trick. The first time I made it, I did not make the gussets on these side doors, and it got a little bulky, and so that's why my measurement's off a little bit. Yep, that'll work. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take off my score tape. Bring up the bottom. Remove this bottom piece. Come on. There we go. And like I said, I'm going to go up about 1 inch. I see something hanging over. About right. Okay, push down. Go ahead and burnish that. And I did take it about, it was about a 1/4 1/2 to a 1 1 1/4 inches to 1 1/2 inches up from the bottom. Okay, so there's a pocket there. Now this pocket is going to be a long one, and it's going to sit on the side here, so you can put things in on the side. So you're going to need one piece that measures 9 1/4 by 3 1/2, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch on 3 sides. So you'll have one score on the long end and then a score on each of the short ends. I cut out my corners to get rid of some bulk. Go ahead and fold the sides in and take off the score tape. Bring that bottom piece up. Okay, I'm going to turn this sideways so it's just easier for me to put it on. I'm going to line it up at the very bottom, and man, it's hard with this black paper. It's hard to see. All right, I'm going to go ahead and burnish that so it's adhered real well. Okay, so it'll look like that. So you have a pocket here. These will open, pocket here. Now we're going to add another flap on the inside. So I would like for you to make cut out 2 pieces. One measures 4 by 3 1/2. Oh, they both measure, I'm sorry, both of them are 4 by 3 1/2. And we're going to score it on the 3 1/2 inch side and at 1/2 inch. So when I have the arrow coming down from a number, that means that's the side that's across the top of the scoreboard. Okay, I put my adhesive on already, and these are just going to go like so. Okay, so they'll come down. You know what, let's do something different. Maybe I want to, let's see, maybe I just want the flaps on the top. And then the bottom, what do I want to do here? Do I want them like that? I might just do the sides. And then I'll put a magnet here to keep that closed. And then maybe I could put 2 more down here because they're the right. Oh, I'll just go with the original. Why fix it if it's not broke? All right, sorry about that. I was thinking out loud. Okay, so you want to center this and put it at the edge. Sorry, I'm out of camera. And there we go. And we're going to want to put the other one so that it lines up perfectly with the first one. Again, I'm going to turn it upside down. It's just easier for me that way. And the adhesive goes to the bottom. Okay. And we'll put magnets on these so that it stays closed. Okay. So that's all for the middle. So these go up and one goes down. This will go like so. Pull this down like so. This will fold in and this folds in, and it doesn't matter which one you have on top. I just like to put the one on the left on top. And there is a little bit of that gusset so that your paper doesn't get too thick inside of there. So we have the middle done. So let's move to the left hand side, and this one has a lot more flaps. So let me get my pieces organized. We're going to start with the top and the bottom flap. So here's the first one we're going to do. This one is a 6x7 piece of paper with the 7-inch piece, 7 inches along the top. Score at 3/4 of an inch. I like to give it a little thickness when they're heavier flap. Okay, so 6x7, and that's going to go up here, and we'll center that so that it doesn't need to, we don't want it to cross this score line, and we don't want it to hang off the side here. Okay, so let me turn it upside down like I always do. And we're just going to put it right about there. So let me take that off. All right, so see, I did not pass this score line. It's right up against it, but it should still fold without it getting in the way. Go ahead and burnish that on the inside. Okay, so now you're going to want a bottom flap, and that is going to measure 6 by 8 1/4 with the 8 1/4 inch side across the top of your score pal. You're going to score at 3/4 of an inch. And go ahead and put adhesive on that 3/4 inch. And we want it to line up with this one. So if you leave the flap down, it's a little bit easier to line it up. Okay, so let's come on. This score tape, once it adheres, man, it does not want to. If you make a mistake, you're in big trouble. At least I have a problem with it. Okay, let me try that again. And this, I got a little piece ripped off here, but it'll be covered. Okay. And I'll go ahead and burnish that on the inside also. Okay, so that's what we have on that side so far. And let's see here. Let's go ahead. There's going to be a pocket down here on this, down here at the bottom. And that's going to measure, you're going to need a 7 by 3 inch piece. And we are going to score it 1/2 inch on 3 sides to make a pocket. So it is a score on each of the short ends and a score on the long end. Put your adhesive, cut out that bottom corner to get rid of the bulk. And I put the 2 sides in first. And then the bottom comes up. Grab a hold of that. Okay, let me move this up. Actually, I wonder if I zoom in if that will help. Okay, so bottom flap down at the bottom. Okay. That's what we have so far. I'm going to zoom back out so you can see. Oh, wrong direction. Sorry about that. Okay. What do we do next? Let's see. There are going to be, let me look at something real quick. So this was my original. Okay. Okay. Oh. All right, that helps me to see that. Okay. So we are going to have the 2 small doors, and those are going to measure 5 by 3 3/4. Place the 3 3/4 inches along the top of your scoreboard and score it 1/2 inch. Okay. And that will go, each one of these will go on a side like so. I'm going to turn it sideways. I want to center this on this top flap. I'm centering it. Okay. And let's go ahead and burnish that side, burnish it down. Okay. And now we want the other flap to be on the other side, and they should line up nice and neat. I gotta turn it so I can work with it better. I want to make sure that these line up. Perfect. That one was easier for some reason. All right, and okay. So now we have 2 larger flaps that will go on top of that, and those measure 6 by 5. And we're going to score those at 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch. And again, that's to give it a little bit of room so that when you add papers and tags, it doesn't get so, it just gives it a little bit of room to breathe, I guess. So on the 5-inch side, please score it at 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. You're only going to put your adhesive on that 1/2 inch side so that you have a little bit of a gusset. Okay. And I'm going to place, let's see, I'm going to actually adhere these to the bottom of the flap, so I'm going to turn these the other direction. So you're going to want the adhesive on the inside for these. Okay. So that was an easy fix. I just had to, so in that 1/2 of an inch, the tape's going to go on the inside. Okay. And we're going to stick that underneath this door, this top flap. Okay. You can't stick it on top because this is longer and that will be a problem. So you want both of them so that the adhesive is on the inside. Okay, so that one too, it's on the inside. And what I'm going to do is open the flap, and this is upside down again, and I'm going to want it about there, so we have about the same amount of distance from each side of that flap, and it's underneath the top flap. Move it up. Okay, that took me a while. Sorry about that. But I wanted to make sure I lined it up just right, because once that tape's down, it's hard to get it back up. Okay. So it went underneath that. Let me turn it around. It went underneath this original big top flap. Okay. And so now we need to put the other one. Again, we're going to adhere it. That's why we put the tape on the inside. We're going to adhere it to the bottom of that top, that big flap. So I'm turning it sideways to work with it. I'm going to go ahead and take off my score tape backing. And okay, and I'll push down. They lined up just fine. So how I would close this is I would close these two small doors, place this one on top, and then I would have these doors right like so. Okay, and now it's time for the last piece, and I'm just going to place that little flap here, and then I'll go through and show you where I would put the magnets, and then you can decorate it the way you want. I'm not going to show you the matting online or on the camera. All you have to do is either decide if you want it to be 1/8 of an inch shorter than your black base paper, or if you want it 1/4. I like to go 1/8. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead, and this is a 4.5 by 3 3/4 inch piece. I laid the 3 3/4 inches across the top, and I scored it 1 inch just because I'm going to be pulling on it a lot to open the door, and so I'd rather it have a little bit more stability. Okay, so I'm just going to place that on the center. I'm going to turn it sideways. I'm going to find the center of that flap, and that's where I'm going to place it. Okay, and and then it should fold up nice and neat for you. Okay, so here's where I would put the magnets, and I'm going to make a mark because if I don't mark it, I sometimes forget when I'm putting on my decorative paper. So you put your magnets on first. I have, these are the basic gray. I get them from countrycraftcreations.com. These are the bigger ones. It's hard to see, but I have two smaller ones left. You can decide what size you want. On this one, there's enough of an overlap that I could do the large ones, and I might just put one on each end here. So a magnet here and a magnet here to close it. If you want, you could come up with another type of closure, but I think, yeah, I did magnets on my first one too. So I'm going to place a mark where I want magnets, and hopefully I'll be able to see my pencil. So I'll just put some X's so that I know to place magnets, and then the partner will go on this side. Okay, so leave yourself some sort of note, or else you'll forget like me, I'm sure. Oops, I didn't line that up very well, but at least it'll remind me to put them there. Put them too close to the edge. Okay, now on the inside, I put magnets in a couple different places. I'm going to want to place a magnet underneath these flaps because they don't lay down as nice. And you might want to decide if you want a magnet on this piece also. I'm going to use a big enough magnet that it's strong enough to go through the two pieces. So I will put one on the back of this flap. I'm going to use these larger ones. I'll put one on the back, and then I'll put the other one down here, and it will be strong enough that it should hold. Okay, so I'm going to open this up and put an X for a magnet. Lift this up and put an X here so I know a magnet will go there. Lift this up, place a little X here, and open and put an X here, so that's where the partner will go. Now if your magnets aren't strong enough, you might have to put more than one. Okay, so that's going to keep those closed. I did not put any magnets on these two doors. They stayed down nice enough without any kind of magnet. So then on this side, I do need a magnet right here on the inside. So I'll put an X here. And I think I put it, the other one here on the left hand flap. I think it was strong enough to go through those. And then that's all I needed. So I used 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 magnets on my project. So 10 because it with its partner. So I'm going to decorate this, and I'll have pictures of it with the vintage grill paper. Let me give you an example of what that looks like. So this is the paper I'm using by Photo Play. It's called Vintage Girl, and it's from countrycraftcreations.com. I will, like I said, have pictures, and if you have questions, let me know. Here, let me show you my original one again before, oops, sorry. This is the one I did the first time, so you can kind of get an idea of another, what it looks like with different kinds of paper. And then this came down. Then we have doors, and this goes up. Okay. And then this side door, and then we've got 2 cards in here in this pocket. There's some cards here in this pocket. I put a piece here, but I cut it in half so that they still open. Okay. So I'm anxious to get the vintage girl paper on here. I think it's going to be adorable. I hope that this was an easy enough tutorial to follow. If you have any questions, let me know. And visit countrycraftcreations.com for your paper, your adhesive, your magnets. They have it all. Thanks so much. I decided to come back and do one more thing before I wrapped up the tutorial. I decided that on this middle section, let me close everything up and show you which section I'm talking about. So I have my folio and I did put my magnets on. And in this middle section where you have the two flaps that go left and right, and then you have the up and down flap, I decided I did not want this to be plain. So I went ahead and put my decorative paper, my designer paper on there, which is the Photo Play Vintage Girl. And I want the overlapping L pockets that go like this. And so what I'm going to do is take a 6 3/8 by 6 3/8 inch square. So I use the dimension 6 3/8 by 6 3/8. I put it in my cutter from corner to corner and cut it into 2 triangles, which is what I have here. And then I scored a 1/2 inch on each side and cut out the corner. And that's going to become one of the pockets on the bottom here. Now when you fold these, you are going to have to do some trimming, because after you've done your 1/2 inch on each side and you cut out that corner and you fold them up, you do have that little piece that sticks out, and so you just need to trim that before you lay it down. So the pocket will end up looking like this, and then you can put things in both of those pockets. I just feel like it needed something in the back, that it was too much of an empty space for me. So that's what I decided to do, if you want to add that to yours also. And then I'll come back and show you what it's like once I have the matting done. Here is the completed folio once I've decorated it. I have this black lace that I got from Country Craft Creations along with this string of pearls. I just used a cut apart here with some Prima flowers, and I had a little bling in my stash. So that is what the cover looks like. When you open it, there's the green side here, and I have 2 magnets. And I'm going to go ahead and open it. Okay, so this is a pocket, and I have 2 of the cut aparts in here. My hands are filthy, sorry, from all that black paper. And then this opens, and I have a one-of-a-kind cut apart up here. This one says pretty. These 2 open, and you have some more space. I'm gonna have to move that. It's probably hard to see this in the camera, but this is that really shiny green paper that I got from Country Craft Creations. It's got a pearl to it. And then this one comes down. And again, I have this pearl green. I have 2 of the cut aparts in here with a, it says go your own way down here. So these close up real easy. This side has the pocket. I have a cut apart here, and I backed a tag and put some seam binding in it. And then this closes, and then we come over to the left hand side, and this opens, and I just put a card behind the matted cut apart here. I put another line of the pearls on the left here. I made a small belly band and just put in one of the cut aparts. I have 3 cut aparts in here. I wish they were a little bit bigger so you could see them better when I open it. But you could put other things in here also. There's plenty of room. This comes down, and I placed a mat with the shiny green paper, and it says thinking of you down at the bottom. This opens. I left this open for pictures. I'm going to go ahead and close that and then open this. There's room, it's hard to get everything on here. There's room for pictures here. Here, this is open so that something can be put behind it. And then it just closes up. And there you go. So hopefully this tutorial was helpful. If you have questions, leave them below. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. And visit countrycraftcreations.com if you have any needs for any of these materials. And they also have a Facebook page called Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations. If you purchase anything from now until October 31st, if you would put my name in the comment box, that will make you eligible, along with me eligible, for a $25 gift card if I am the winning design team member. So thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see what you have to make. Go ahead and post those for me, and I would love to see them. Have a good night, everybody.